All right, so now let's bring up our panelists. The first one I'm going to bring up is Grace. So Grace, if you come on up, Grace is an investor. She also has a bunch of IPs, over 73 of them. Grace, welcome. I'd also now like to bring up Robert Grant from Cyber, followed by Roberto from Gamium.world, and Aryan from Arise. Let's give them a hand, everybody. You got your microphone. You guys ready to do this? We've been talking about this for the past 2 hours. No, just kidding. We're not that far behind. All right, everybody. So I will tell you that at the end, if you listen in and if you follow the conversation and discussion, I do have a giveaway here that I think is pretty unique and different. It's a part of history. So let's go back to sci-fi. You know, there was this TV show, Robert Grant. It was Star Trek, and it started with space. The final frontier, these are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise. It's a 5-year mission. What is your 5-year mission at Cyber?
Well, I think to change the entire experience with how we experience the metaverse and world around us. And, you know, if there was any place on the planet that I would think might actually be a metaverse, it would be here in Dubai, actually. It looks like it could actually be. But we're not going to be carrying around in 5 years in the same way that we do iPhones. We're not going to be carrying around other cell phones, Androids, et cetera, in the same ways. I think we're aiming to transform that by putting it inside your eye. To make an intraocular lens, we're developing an intraocular lens. We have intellectual property on this. We have had for quite some time. And the entire experience we brought to all the same features and functions you have on your iPhone, including augmented reality and virtual reality, bringing it to a true, real-time, three-dimensional experience that will be mixed reality, virtual reality, all within the convenience of when you open your eyes, it turns on.
Now, in terms of, is this a major surgery? Do they put you out for a couple days? I mean, what's this take?
It's actually the most commonly performed surgery in the world today. Over 30 million surgical procedures performed for cataract surgery. So what we did is we took a substrate of a cataract lens, right? That's a lens replacement that goes inside the eye, done 30 million times a year already.
Anybody ever have that done?
Lots of people have. And you're, especially if you're older, at some point you end up with cataract. 72% of the population gets cataract by the time they're 74 years old. So what we did is we took that same substrate and we put on top of it all the functions and features, miniaturized, of course, onto an intraocular lens. And we're very excited about it. We'll be the first to do this.
So now jumping over Grace, and then we're going to come back for another question. But Grace, I mean, here you have 73 inventions behind your name, and it's not done yet, it continues. And so what do you see as the final frontier in this 5-year mission of what you're working on and the companies you're working on? Where are you 5 years from now?
First of all, today we're in the Metaverse conference. But actually, outside the world, there's been less than 0.1% of people who understand what's the difference between blockchain, crypto, metaverse, etc. So in 5 years' time, yes, we want to build metaverse, but as a human being, there's a transactions. We have to giving people the opportunity to understand the education from today to tomorrow before we talk about 5 years. That's why, you know, in the last 30 days, we have been signing up with the RTI University in the Dubai Silicon Oasis to building Metaverse Blockchain World Academy because we want to educate the community. Funny enough, I'm sure in the room, we have a lot of companies are expert in the metaverse. We have an investor from the metaverse. Do you know the problem in the world outside? We can't even find a right talent employees. When the whole world, 99% of people want to convert the business into the metaverse world, where they can find the experts. Do you know the number, in the statistic? In the last 2 years, during COVID, a lot of businesses bankrupt. But you know the only one thing being increased hugely in the job, all the FTSE top 500 companies looking for is the metaverse blockchain. The statistic, 2,000%. Okay? Second, then as a human being, we want to experience the metaverse. So what we're actually doing now to bring it to the next 5 years, we bring it to today. Currently in the Silicon Oasis, we're building a metaverse teleport stations, which means we provide a home and platform for all over the world the top company can join. And we're creating the world first metaverse ID linking with Dubai residency and transform them into an NFT. Like, just answer your question inside from the metaverse world in 5 years' time. Problem they need to be solving. First, connectivities. We can go into the metaverse world. We no longer need to be overproduced. The world will be much more subdelible because like in the metaverse and blockchain world, we talk about prepay. You do no longer need to chasing for invoice. How many of you in the room are feeling the pain to chasing invoice, to asking company to pay you? But the problem, is like about overproducing is because you don't know where's your customer. You cannot even tracing them. But in the metaverse world, they bring you the solutions that we can prepare. Second, it's like we getting the world closer. When we build the metaverse transportations, we open station. How many of you have been watching the film called The Man in Black? Right? So in Man in Black, there's a station that alien can teleport into different galaxies. Same thing. We build the teleportation to New York, Milan, China, Dubai, Tokyo, London, etc. So when we're creating the home for all the metaverse company and also giving the opportunity for all the government investors can go into the metaverse world, looking what's the next best. Then they can invest as well. So the other way is we bringing from idea, creativity to transaction to real life much more shorter.
You answered it.
Thank you.
Roberto, Gamium. And by the way, that was quite the explanation. It tells me what's happening behind the scenes. And same thing, Robert, on your side, that the technology that's being developed, created, incubated all around us is sometimes things we don't see because we don't ask. And they say to gain wisdom is to ask questions of a wise man or a wise woman. And so now, heading on to Roberto. Roberto, you and I spent time together as well. Your big vision, 5 years from now, Gamium, where are you?
Thank you, Dustin, for your introduction. So basically, in 5 years, I see the first community-driven metaverse all over the world. Because at the end, it's all about people. Who better than community knows what they want? So thanks to decentralization, thanks to DAOs, which is like decentralized leadership, we have the opportunity to let the community take part of the decisions of your company. And that's crazy. And how do you get this? You really need to let your users be superheroes. You need to give them powers. And how do you do this? You really need to engage them, giving them crazy and very nice features. You can get this also if you let them take part of the votations and so on. So this is my aim, basically. And thank you so much, Dustin.
Thank you so much, Roberto. Aryan, Arise.io. Your customer base, your vision, 5 years from now. Tell us.
Well, from years ago, I've always been obsessed with visual technologies. So from what we call now metaverses, it has been the same virtual realities that we have been experiencing over the past 15 years. Thanks to a lot of hardware advancement, now it's much more realistic, much more immersive. But if we take one step back, there has been always, with all sort of new technologies, we had this same thing also back in the 90s when internet was becoming mainstream. The moment it became so popular that everybody jumped on it, people could use it, and there was so many platforms, so many services on it, was the moment that it was just a touch of a button away from the people. So people didn't need to think about how to connect to internet, what is the technology behind it. It's a button. They click, they connect, they go surf. What we want to do with Arise is essentially creating a set of technologies on a software level that you as a user, whether you want to create, whether you want to use it, delivers on a promise of a high quality without a hustle of downloading anything, installing anything, or necessarily even understanding what the technology behind it is. So make it so simple that you don't need to think about it. You just go, it's a URL, it's everything web-based. You go there, you make it happen. You can make it happen from a business side of things, as an e-commerce store, as a metaverse environment, education, you name it, all the way to the creators. So you have the businesses on one side, you have the creators on one side, the content creators, and you need the third pillar, which is the technology. Because these two need to be connected, and you need to have a distribution technology to the users. So that's where we are aiming to go, to create this ecosystem that as a user, you have the best experience without even thinking about it, and it becomes a norm.
And you're in growth mode right now. I mean, you have a number of positions you've filled, and you're still bringing people on board onto the team.
Yeah, we need a big team. We expanded from, I think, 4 or 5 people to 25 people now within the span of 2 months, majority of it being engineering. And the thing is, being obsessed with the visual technology, and I'm an engineer myself, you realize a lot of things that we could easily solve to bring it to people. It's just a matter of the fact of putting effort into it and figure out how people react to certain things, how they think to use the technology. Do they actually go through all the steps? No. It's the same thing as who reads the manual? Nobody. They try to first figure it out. If they can't, then they will go read the manual. But the products that they win on a hardware or software levels are the ones that are seamlessly being activated by the user. So that's where we want to go with the software, that you don't need to think about it. Thanks to hardwares that are coming up and companies like Robert, the hardware is coming up. It's just a matter of time. But once the hardware is there, how we are going to serve the people what they want to see, that's where we aim to be. That's where we wanted the Arise to be as a technology partner, as a content layer, essentially, to the metaverse, to the virtual experiences.
Yeah, what I love is that you've created a concept that is unity, that you're not the competitor, that you're a connector and you're a friend.
100%, yeah. We do not compete with platforms that already exist. We simply are an add-on to make their life easier. We are a layer that they can distribute faster, easier, with a higher quality. So essentially, the long promise of delivering experience like Ready Player One, the movie, that everything is high quality, everything is so cool that you just want to be part of it, that has been yet to come, and we are there to make that happen. High quality content, low latency, device doesn't matter. You just need to have access to internet. That's where we want it to happen. That's the moment that it becomes so mainstream. That's the moment businesses are going to reel in, because people are in it, because it's so easy. It's just about the user experience at the end of the day.
And now jumping over, Roberto, you have really convinced me about the future of avatars and why it matters to be able to bring your brand, connect your brand. Think of it as a social platform on steroids, to bring it all together. Why does an avatar matter, and what will it be worth?
So basically, the most important part in a social network is people. So the more you allow them to express themselves, the better, because we are curious and we get engaged about what people say, and also we want to show off, to show what we're doing. So if we let people to connect, to get off-chain data, on-chain data, also to have the chance to get their digital soulmate, like how they really feel they are, like they have fully freedom. So this is very important, because I mean, in the metaverse, you can be anything, and when you can be whoever you want, then you will express, you will feel the real freedom, and when the real freedom happens, then things happen, and time runs more fast, and it's frictionless,
And Grace, I mean, from your side as an investor, as an inventor and an investor, but in the investor aspect, the questions that you ask, they come in with their fancy binders, or they come in with their big PDFs, and they try to sell you on a story. What do you look for?
The real one. The real one. Thank you. The real one meaning, okay, Dustin, you might know. Actually, Dustin is one of my super hosts, from the Blockchain World TV. So the reason, any of you watching Shark Tank in America, in the US? Oh, cool, okay. So Shark Tank is a reality TV show for all the billionaires sit, in the panel to invest into the newcomers, right? You know the statistic to go. No matter who walk into the show, doesn't matter they work out the money or not. The business can grow 200%. Same thing. As an investor, when people come to me, there's a few things. How quick you can turn your dream to true. How long, in the blockchain world, you want to lock the money for. If you want to lock more than 6 to 12 months, no deal. 3, apart from the innovation, I want to know what kind of problem you solve. Because everybody talk about dream, everybody talk about story, but the whole world got so many problems. The only one thing to make business work and the money will come to you is when you're solving a problem, not when you're actually selling ideas. We believe ideas, but we believe problem solving. Just to add on a little bit comment about yourself, the question about how important human avatar, right? I completely agree with you. Humans need to feel engaged. And also answer the question about what we're going to do in 5 years' time. What we're currently doing and what we're investing in the avatar, take for example, a friend of mine, she's a psychiatrist, Lady Gazala. So imagine we are currently doing a 3D avatar for her. For psychologists, you have to go to drive a car for very long, 1 hour, go to Harley Street, to look at your psychology for 1 hour, to pay fortune. How about if we can, beautify the psychologist like a 1,000 times beautiful woman, and you can teleport into the metaverse, and you can lay in the beach fun to listen to your psychologist, to pay for the same money. Are you a bit more enjoyable? This is what we're currently doing. Don't even need to wait for 5 years' time. 2, we take Olympic, gold medal winner in UK, Joe Chun. Because he's excellent, he will be the perfect super movie star. He do fencing, horse riding, everything. So, but because he's an Olympic winner, he have to go training. So what are we going to do? We're creating a 3D avatar for him. I said, okay, you can go to training. Your avatar can showcase in gym to teaching people how to lose weight, teaching people how to getting fit. So everyone can teleport into the metaverse world. So imagine, this is what we do. What kind of project you think to bring into our end, and we will invest money? And the reason why we build the Blockchain World reality TV show is in making the convenience for all of us and to cut the time shorter to choosing the best in the world. And we will using all the media channel to promote them. And we will be in line with United Nations 17 Development Goal. Because I believe sustainable is a very big topic. Actually, Dubai this year or next year is going to be host the COP26. So it's everything is about sustainable. For us, blockchain is sitting by solving a problem. Metaverse is sitting by solving a problem and changing, the lifestyle and providing solutions. Make our time much more efficient. But if you don't know how to solve a problem, go to pick one. There's 17 problems in the United Nations waiting for you to solve. Okay, thank you.
No, thank you. And again, that's one of those, well said. And Robert, you are someone who has been coaching me for a while, teaching me business. As a young CEO, a young founder, as a dad as well, you have this unique ability to be able to see problems in businesses, but at the same time to be able to measure success and help young and old people alike to start to measure success in a different way and how to set priorities. So as we now kind of come down on our time, how do you measure success? I mean, you were one of the people behind Botox and bringing it to market. So tell us, before you were in this entrepreneurial stage, tell us your journey quickly and then measuring success.
I've had a great journey. I've loved every single minute of it. I started out as an entrepreneur when I was very young, and then I ended up going to be a professional manager and working for very large corporations like Allergan as president of Allergan Medical and CEO of Bausch & Lomb Surgical. And I really enjoyed that time of my career. I think one of the biggest challenges that people face is that they don't know who they are. I think Socrates said, know thyself. And if there's one thing that I think is really beautiful about metaverses, is I think it actually will help us to solve the problem of people starting to know who they are. Why would I say something like that? When you talk about avatars, if we look around the world, we have such incredible diversity with human beings. I would not want to live in a world where everybody is the same. What I would really like to see is for people to blossom and experience themselves and fully self-actualize, get beyond that, have full self-awareness and even self-transcendence. I think that meta and metaverses is actually about this notion of self-transcendence as we all start to learn ourselves better, and then therefore we can express ourselves in more creative and interesting ways. I see that, absolutely. But I think one of the major issues that CEOs face today, so many don't know who they are, therefore they don't know what they want, therefore they don't know where they're going. Whereas, if you actually start by knowing who you are and get comfortable with that person, then you can really make dramatic changes, not only in your life, but in the lives of so many people around you. And that is really something you can't even measure because it's so invaluable.
Well said, Robert. And now, everybody, as we come down, a couple years back, I was at the gym, and I was listening to motivational quote music, and somebody asked the question of Elon Musk, how many hours does it take to succeed? And what he said was something along the lines of 80 to 100 hours a week, that's what it takes. And having known each of you now, I know that you give 80 to 100 hours a week. Roberto, I know you have been sleep deprived for the past 2.5 days. And when we ask ourselves, what do we want? Robert Grant's words, everybody is here for something, or at least they should be. Adnan has brought together some of the most creative minds on the planet. All of you now have a choice. What is it you want? We call this the final frontier, and I joked around with Robert earlier, and I said the end is just the beginning. So think about that. At the end of this event, it will be just the beginning in your life. If you are looking for somebody to give you sound counsel of how to do business, how to build a business, you have Grace, you have Robert, you have great minds like Roberto, and you have amazing CEOs over here like Aryan. We thank you for your time. Thank you for joining us. And we cut off 2 minutes, so thank everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dustin.